Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and Arsenal have been knocked out of the Champions League by PSG. The game ended 2-1 and on aggregate it was a 3-1 win for PSG. I mean, I don't. I'm just so done. I'm so devastated. If you cannot see from my face, I'm an Arsenal fan. I really don't know what to say. I mean, the way that we started the game, it felt like almost like an action replay of last week's game, but it was just the teams had changed. PSG started very well in the first first 20-30 minutes. We barely had the ball in that game, and last night's game it was basically the same, but it was Arsenal who did it. But the difference was PSG were able to score when they were they were creating pressure, and Arsenal, unfortunately, they were just not able to score the goals. They were not able to take the lead. And I mean, again, it is Donnarumma. I mean, the saves that he made during that crucial period of the time, that was so important for PSG. That kept them in the game. I really believe if we score an early goal there in that first 15-20 minutes when PSG barely touched the ball, it was constant Arsenal pressure. I mean, Rice had a header cut to the side. We had Martinelli's shot saved by Donnarumma. Then Odegaard, that save from Odegaard just summed up our night. I mean, he literally had I think less than a second to react, and he somehow still manages to get there and push the ball away because of how the score remains and they slowly start getting back in the game. And they go ahead and they score a goal. I mean, Declan Rice makes a stupid foul. They give away a free kick. The ball gets cleared, and then Fabian Ruiz scores a worldie out of nowhere. I mean, his first Champions League goal ever, and of course, it had to come against Arsenal. And it had to come against Arsenal when we were playing really good and we really did not deserve to go behind. But it is what it is. It is football. It happens. I mean, I really cannot, to be very honest with you, I cannot really blame the performance. I cannot really blame the players. I cannot really blame the manager tonight, because we really went at it. I mean, we took the game to PSG. I think we were the much better side tonight. But for the majority of the game, there were a lot of big passages of play where we dominated and we controlled the game, and we should have scored the goals, but we did not. PSG had their moments in the game and they took advantage of that game. I mean, that considering that second goal in that second half from Ashraf Hakimi, I mean, that was a really terrible thing to happen, especially just before they had missed the penalty. So we sort of had a momentum, and unfortunately, as I said, we were just not really able to finish the game off. We were just not clinical enough, if I'm being very honest with you, and that had a lot to do with Donnarumma. I mean, we had so many shots on target as well, but he was just a wall. If your goalkeeper is your man of the match for 2 consecutive games, that just shows how much of a good game you had. He made crucial saves in Emirates, and last night, I mean, he was simply stunning. And the fact that he he was not even 100% fit for the last 65 70 minutes. He was not 100% fit. It was a moment in time where it felt like he was gonna be subbed off, but he was not. I think tactically, Mikel Arteta basically outcoached Luis Enrique last night. Enrique was, PSG were really struggling. But again, I mean, we just were not able to finish the game off. And this really, to be very honest with you, this really goes back to the summer of 2024 at the start of the season, where we did not assign any striker. And then to January of 25 as well, like we had so many injuries. So much stuff was going on, and we still did not sign anybody, and it's criminal. I mean, the difference between Arsenal and PSG was on the pitch was that in January PSG needed some spark, and they went and they signed Castro, and unfortunately Arsenal did not sign, and Castro scored in that first leg, and he hit the crossbar, and he was so good in last night's game as well. And that just shows a club who really wants to go ahead and win big things, and who's willing to back their manager, and the club who just does not care and is not really backing the manager. I mean, it sort of feels like now 10 years behind, when we had a great team, and Arsenal were fighting on all cylinders, and we just needed a one striker, and the board gave Arsene Wenger the money, and they bought him Peter Cech when we really did not need him. And I think this is the same thing that happened to Mikel Arteta in the summer when Raheem Sterling was bought on loan. I mean, whoever decided and whoever tried brought him Raheem Sterling on loan. I mean, they really should be sacked. I mean, I'm just lost as at words, to be very honest. So the season is done. They are of course it has already started, but you're going to see idiots coming out with all the Arteta outs and all. I just don't understand these idiots. So we were down and out. We were 8th in the league. We were playing Europa League. We were not even playing Europa League, and now we are competing for the title. We are competing. We were in the semi-final of the Champions League, and if our board had used the brain, if our board had backed our manager, if our board had spent the money and brought in a good striker, we might as well have won the game, and we would have been in the final. So I really don't know from where these people are coming and trying to attack the manager, because I think as I said, Arteta basically won the game last night. In every department, I think we were the better team last night. They should, if not for the tie, if you compare the two games, I would say that PSG were a better team, and not by much of a lot of margin. It would be like a 55-45 or a 60-40 difference between Arsenal and PSG over 2 legs. But for last night's game, I think we were just not clinical enough. We were the better side. We created the most chances. We dominated the game, but we were just not able to finish it off. I mean, your team is not, your luck is not on your side when your best player who has carried your team misses an open net. I mean, that just sums up. When Saka missed that, I'm like, okay, we are done. Nothing is going to happen. Just no miracle is happening tonight. I'm speechless, to be very honest with you. Congratulations to PSG. I think they really deserved it over 2 legs. I think they were really good. The way that they handled our pressure in the early stages of that game, I mean, that they were really brilliant in that regard. There have been question marks sometimes regarding PSG's defensive errors, and when they're under the pump. We saw that against Aston Villa as well. When they felt pressure, a goal started coming. So I really thought that it could happen, but last night they held their line, and again I would say Donnarumma really helped them a lot. If one of those chances where he makes the saves early on goes in, I think the game changes quite quickly, and it would the result would have been completely different. But they were immense tonight. I mean, and the thing is, what they were able to do and what we were not able to do is, despite being under so much pressure, and they still went out and had the chances on that counter attack that kept the pressure on Arsenal behind, that even there's a chance that they are going to hit us on the counter attack and they are going to be able to score the goal. I mean, as I already said, Kvaratskhelia hit the goal post. Barcola had a big chance. I don't know how he messed that up. Declan Rice helped came behind and sort of made it impossible for him put the pressure on him, but Barcola should be scoring that goal. But as I say, they have really played their game to the point. They sustained the pressure and they came out, they hit us on the counter attack, and then they tried to slow the game down. I mean, their midfield basically was really good. Ruiz, Vitinha, all of them. I mean, they were simply sensational. I think they basically won the game in midfield, if I'm being very honest with you. The way they slowed the game down continuously to put pressure on us, and not let Arsenal try to make our moves. I think that they were simply sensational, and you cannot take anything away from them. It was a splendid performance from PSG, and they thoroughly deserve to go through. I think we are going to have an interesting final for the Champions League when Inter and PSG played. But for Arsenal, now the main question and now the main concentration should be on the next 3 games, because now the Champions League spots are really on the line. You don't have anything else to play for. You need to win those next 3 games, or at least win a couple of games to make sure you finish second, because otherwise it is going to be in my opinion, I still think it's a great season. People are gonna come and mock us and whatnot, that we did not win a trophy and whatnot. But the fact is, 2 years ago we were not in the Champions League, and in just 2 years we almost qualified for the final. We were in the semi-final. We beat the current European champions, and we beat them quite convincingly. And against another big team, we played a really good football. And if we had a clinical striker, we could have gone ahead. But it is what it is. We go on next year, and now we just have to finish the season on a high and try to finish a second. That is from me in this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the game. What are your feelings about Arsenal, what are your feelings about PSG as well, and let me know who do you think is the favorites, Inter or PSG, for the Champions League final. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell. I have to be very honest, I don't care about it tonight.